Welcome back to Staff Assault.
And this is a photograph of Dan saying it to you.
You won't see the photograph.
No, you don't want to do that.
No.
Seriously, you don't. I'm saving it for my new game show.
It's called blackmail.
Oh, yeah. You know, I had one ready for PewDiePie, but it seemed that like the rest of the internet beat me to the punch with that one.
This is the Star Fox team. We're here for a hog named Pigma.
Should have seen what I had planned for Logan Paul, but then he gave himself away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done being trendy. Back to the game. And when I say being trendy, I mean being like 12 years out of date. Which is usually the case. Hell, like, you know, I'm so used to the older games. It's like when like you showed me gameplay footage and stuff of Red Dead Redemption 2 the other day, I felt like I'd woken up from a frozen sleep. It's like, oh wow, is this what we're doing with games now? Being hyper-realistic and watching testicles shrink? Is that really what gaming's all about these days? You know, I remember, and I'm 28 years old, and I feel like an old man sitting on a fucking veranda going, do you remember the days where we used to reach the end of each level and defeat the main bad guy by jumping on his fucking head?
Me too, Crystal.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know whether... I guess I needed to get that out of there.
Yeah. But it's not like it's just... If it's just Rockstar, really, and another first-person shooter people... But again, you come around... What goes around comes around. Sometimes a realistic first-person shooter comes around is like so good. It's like... It can't possibly get any better. Like, Spec Ops: The Line. It is a realistic third-person shooter.
Yes.
But its story is that fucking good. To a point where it's like, you have to get people to play it.
Can I tell you one thing that started to annoy me with first-person shooters? Now, this is going to sound stupid.
What?
This is going to sound crazy. The realistic loading of the gun. Perfect Dark did this. World is Not Enough on the Nintendo 64. Nightfire and things like that. Like, there were times where if you had a shotgun, you'd have to wait for every single gun to load, and it's usually a full 6 seconds before you can fight back against the enemy. And this sounds stupid because it's like a common thing, realistic and all that. That was one thing about GoldenEye, which I still don't think, like you, I still don't think it's the best 2D first-person shooter in the world. I think it's the most influential.
It brought first-person shooters to the console.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when you had to reload a gun, you just heard a simple cocking sound, and the gun would drop off the screen and then pop back up again, and the gun was fully loaded and ready to go. That took 1 second. And now, a lot of games, when you're loading a gun, you've got to find cover, you've got to spend about, like, 6-7 seconds waiting for the gun to load, depending on what the gun is, and by then you're dead. So, that sort of ruined first-person shooters for me, where they tried to be hyper-realistic. You know, when it comes down to it, it's a video game where you're supposed to have fun.
Yeah.
You just shot Slippy! Shoot him again!
That was a nice fox! I don't care.
If you ever accidentally shoot me in the head, Dan, somehow I want to survive long enough to use those as my last words. It's like, oh shit, Michael, I've just shot you in the head, and I'm laying there with pissing blood out of my like third eyeball socket or whatever.
Your third eyeball socket.
Yeah, it's like, not cool, Dan. And then, like, you know, finally, but that wouldn't be my last words. That'd just be something I want to say.
Yeah.
My last words would be after you say, "Can I have your stuff?" I simply respond with, "Nah." You know, that's something. Cat.
Stop walking on the damn laptop.
He's pressing buttons, man.
Wasn't there? Nope.
So,
I am now raiding O'Donnell's hideout.
O'Donnell, so that's Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Wolf, Pigma, Andrew, Leon, whose surname I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce. Pawlowski or something like that?
Pulaski, yeah.
Pawlowski, or can we just like settle it by calling him Leon Nahasapima Petalon? After all, Matt Groening and that aren't going to use that name anymore, so we might as well.
No, yeah, they're keeping it on. Because
I was joking.
I know the idea is like, oh yeah, you got to get rid of it because this one comedian fucking didn't like the character. It's like, fuck off, really?
Yes. Let's get rid of one of the most, one of the characters that has like more
human qualities
than any of the others.
Well, he says this, and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, even Hank Azaria was happy to stand down from the role and give it to an actual Indian actor. Like, good on him. I mean, like, he was the one who was being the best sport out of all of that. But no, it's like far easier to just get rid of the character altogether, isn't it? No, come on. It's like it's not like with like Troy McClure where the actor was fucking murdered.
Shit.
You know, it's not like that. The actor who played him is still there. It's just like, if you want to keep him as like a character without dialogue or whatever, then fine, I suppose. But
yeah, it's just you're not in charge of the company. That's why. What was that video? I read something or saw something, and it just said you can like a franchise, but there's no point in falling in love with it because it's not yours to control.
Well, yeah, exactly. I can't remember where you heard that as well. I can't remember either where you heard that. I think it was something we saw earlier today, in fact, or something you at least showed me today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It makes me. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the film Misery. Because I don't know who the actor was, but this guy, I don't know if you saw the film, gets in a car crash and he's
I know Misery, but yeah.
Yeah. Basically, she reads the transcript for the novel that he'd finished. He crashed his car like on his way to deliver it, and she was outraged that the main character that she'd fallen in love with had died. So she pretty much kept him prisoner, telling him that he had to rewrite it to her specifications. Pretty much like what the internet's doing with pretty much everyone these days. I mean, do you remember like what one particular fan said on Cinemassacre when James Rolfe decided to go to one episode a month instead of 2 a month?
Oh yeah.
This is back 8 years ago now, but criticizing him for deciding to only do 1 episode a month, saying that he should be doing more, and that like his personal life shouldn't matter compared to the show, and all sorts of shit like that. I really hate people like that. I really hate them because like their whole life is on the computer. This guy even admitted to like checking the account daily and kicking off. He actually went ballistic when the Nerd released the Action 52 review, and that there wasn't another review a week later. A week.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah, and like, when he went down to 1 episode a month, at least he actually made it worthwhile. The episodes were longer, they were structured better, and they felt fresher because like it was new material that was exciting. I mean, like, you had the Action 52, then you had its follow-up where he discussed Cheetah Men and the Mega Drive version of Action 52. Then he did glitches for games.
Which... Pong machines, it's like, it wasn't just, I'm angry at this game just because it's bad.
No, because like the problem is with a 2 episode a month schedule, it had to be fresh every time, and he didn't really have time to go hunting for bad games. It's like, that was one of the best things with the other ones, because he actually had the time to really search for something new to talk about. It's all right when like you pick up a game like say like Mad Max, like you briefly see that at the start of his Darkwing Duck review. If he was trying to schedule out his reviews into 2 a month as he did before, he would have like struggled with that one to find stuff to talk about. He would have to like he would either have to like do what Doug Wanker used to do and start deliberately searching for things to complain about, or like Irate Gamer, he would just make it up.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. He decided to go down to 1 a month so that he could really look for games that he could like find actual things to talk about. And it was more fun that way because it made the reviews more unpredictable. Like the High Glide thing that we just watched today.
Yeah, that takes... What was the last episode released? I mean, the last batch of episodes.
It was...
I gotta go back up.
I think it was the Tomb Raider games as well, and Drake of the 99 Dragons.
Yeah, how long were they? Like a month?
Yeah, about a month ago. But like he would have filmed them like he would have filmed them earlier in the year, I imagine, like not long after he did Dirty Harry and Earthbound. And Earthbound was his like longest review, and like I still think that's my favourite review. I don't know anything about Earthbound. Like I probably won't even play it because like RPGs aren't my forte. But I still found it fascinating to hear the passion in him as he discussed that game.
Yeah.
You know. And like, again, like if he was doing 2 episodes a month, like that game went over his head for decades. He even had to use an SNES Classic to review the game because he just didn't feel prepared to spend so much money on the game. Had he known about it before, he probably would have got the original, but look, and that's another example of why going down to 1 episode a month was a good idea, and then going down to whenever he felt like he had, enough time had elapsed. He had time to find that game, He had time to discover what Power Rangers was, and really go into detail with a review on that as well. I mean, I didn't really care much for Power Rangers growing up. Hell, I kind of hated Power Rangers growing up. I mean, it was my brother's thing, but I still played some of the games. I watched the movie.
Yeah, we actually watched the Green of Evil 5-parter.
Yeah.
I like the new Wolfens in this.
Yeah, I love how we've been talking about everything other than Star Fox Assault for the last half hour.
I think it's just like, I think we were talking about being mad at something just for the sake of being mad at something.
Yeah.
Like, no one actually just sits down, plays a game to enjoy it now. Now it has to be, I want to stream it so I can get the views and the money, and I've got to be upset about something. Mr. Game & Watch is racist because he looks like an Indian from the Game & Watch games in 1982.
Yeah, that one.
That's kind of like what it is. Like, I need to be mad at something. What can I be mad at? I'm too happy today.
Yes.
I need to be mad.
Like a cartoon outline that, like, a cartoon cardboard outline that talks in alarm clock sound effects is somehow racist to you because of a headdress that he wore based on a video game from the 80s.
35 years ago.
It's like, does it really matter that much? It was, what was it? What, like 3 frames? 2 frames? What?
2 or 4 frames of animation.
2 frames, that was it. 2 frames.
God, I keep forgetting that's the wrong one.
And it's like, really? So, is that what it is now? Shrinking testicles and cardboard cutouts are racist.
Enemies on my tail.
Like, where the hell have I been? I've been spending the last...
in Carbonite for several years.
I've spent the last 6 months of my life thinking, I really want to play Super Double Dragon again. It's been so many years since I played that game. And not only did I, like, find out that the Japanese version was better, which I still think is an amazing game, I then remember, actually, you know what? Since I sold my Super Nintendo, I really wanted to play Super Mario All-Stars again. And then I turn my back and I find all these new games have come out with all of this really weird shit. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to...
Is this a new character now?
Oh, Panther, yeah, I heard of him.
Panther Caroso.
Uh-huh. So all this shit about video games, it's like, oh, you're going to spend money and play the new Red Dead Redemption? No, do you know what I'm going to go and do when I get home? I'm going to go and buy a Pong console. That's what I'm going to do.
Who do you think I am? He says it every time.
Who? What was that, Leon?
Leon.
His voice has changed. Didn't he sound posh in Lilac Wars?
Yeah.
Annoying bird, I am the Great Leon.
The Destroyed Wolf.
I can't believe I'd get beat. What kind of terminology is that? What was wrong with I can't lose or no way I can't believe it? You know, turning into Victor Meldrew from One Foot in the
How come I'm
Grave.
saving everyone's asses on this?
It's like it just gets blasted. I don't believe it! Yes. You ate what?
He got something up his ass about the. There you go.
So, what, do they get killed in this version as well, or do they escape? Considering how popular they are, you'd think they'd escape.
That's enough for now, Fox.
Yeah, he'd escaped.
Come on, Wolf. Enough of this. Just hand over Pigma already. Pigman's no longer part of Star Wolf. And if he'd shown his
Was it? That's another thing. Like, I know video games have been doing this for a while, but you know, you got the bad guys and stuff. But why did there always need to be a rival character? I've always, like, I know this isn't a new thing, but I've always found it a little bit cliche. Like Vegeta, Shadow, Wolf. Like,
I think it's just a dynamic, really. It's like you can't just have a hero who stops the villain.
no,
You need anti-heroes in there. You need someone who actually balance it out. When it's like a rival but your partner, like Zero and Mega Man X, that works better. It's like, yeah, he's my partner, but he's much more powerful than me. But you have to get as powerful, if not more powerful, than your partner.
You know, the funny thing is, when Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson were doing the Tintin movie, original production notes stated that they were actually planning on having 2 original characters for the film, and one of them was going to be a reporter rival for Tintin. Like, in a similar vein.
Like, it's a trope. That you know it's there.
It would be nice to,
Get
like...
fucking away, you bastard.
It would have been nice to, like, you know, explore a little bit more of Tintin doing actual journalism, because I'm telling you now, I heard this in an article once, and they hit the nail on the head. If Tintin was a real journalist in real life, he would have been fired years ago. Because the very first book from 1929, Tintin in the Land of the Soviets, that's the only time you actually see him writing an article. In every other book, he's not. He doesn't do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like the books themselves are like the report.
Next time on Star Fox Assault.
Okay, that's a way to shoot me down, you twat.